That is extra silky for a stick. I was not expecting at all. I would say at this point that I would always use this foundation with a powder or a setting spray. That said, today we have gone in with the added bonus of the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. Hello my lovelies. So today we are doing a full wear test on the Dior Forever Skin Perfect Multi-use Stick Foundation. Multi-use, from what I've read on their website, seems to be the skincare slash foundation element of this stick foundation. So we're gonna go in and do a full wear test of this. It's about 9:15 in the morning, so we're gonna see what happens after about 12 hours of wear. My experience with stick foundations in the past, having oily skin, is that they don't blend out very well. They kind of cake up. The oils on my skin almost like cause it to separate as opposed to settling nicely on the skin. So I'm hoping that the skincare element to this stick foundation will work really well. I've used the Dior Forever skin foundations many times in the past, and I've loved every single one of them. So we're gonna give this a go. So in full transparency, as always, what I currently have on my face, I have some Clinique Moisture Surge as a moisturizer. I've also gone in with my Elemis Superfood Glow Priming Moisturizer combined with the Paula's Choice Tinted Sunscreen that I've been using for at least the last 5 years or so. Under the eyes, we did a little bit of color correction using the LA Girl Pro Conceal in their peachy shade. I don't remember exactly what it's called. Peach, yep, the peach one. And then I've got some Clinique Even Better All Over Concealer and Eraser to conceal on top of the color correction. So the Dior site says to go in using this directly on the skin and then blend it out with either a sponge or a foundation brush. So I'm gonna do one on either side and see which one works better. I'm gonna go in a little over the top. Ooh, that is extra silky. That is so silky. Okay, I'm already feeling pretty confident about this just based on the texture. So on this side, let's use the brush. That is blending out, honestly, super easily, super easily. Look, and the coverage is really good. That redness on my cheek is kind of immediately going away. Effortless, you guys, like really effortless blending, which for a stick, I was not expecting at all. So that's half of my face done, and you can really already see how it's just really evened out the skin tone super nicely. It's definitely a full coverage foundation, but it's definitely also not full coverage in the way that like Il Maquillage is full coverage, you know what I'm saying? All right, so we've got this side now. Let's try with a sponge and see what we like better. So, which side do I want to use? This guy? I personally don't really see the point of using the sponge to apply the makeup. Technically speaking, from like a makeup art point of view, the sponge is supposed to be picking up excess product after you've applied it with a brush. So that tends to be how I use my sponge these days, but for the purposes of following instruction, we're gonna give this a try. And it's going okay. I definitely think the brush was a lot more even and effortless. In fact, I'm just gonna finish this side with the brush. So that's my formal opinion, is a foundation brush is definitely going to be better. The nice thing is, because it starts as kind of like a solid, usually the sponge is better for like liquidy foundations, creamy foundations for picking up excess. I like this because I feel like there's no wasted product, right? It's not getting absorbed by the bristles. It's not getting absorbed by the bristles of your brush, and it's not getting soaked up into the sponge because there's really not a lot of excess product. So that's what she looks like. Very, very happy with the finish, as well as with all of the Dior Forever skin foundations that I've tried. It really does just have this very natural skin-like finish. This color, I think, is also pretty perfect for me. I am in shade 1N. Just really, really happy with the color match, with the texture. I've got super oily skin. Let's get our timestamp here. It is 9:21 in the morning. So I'm going to put on a little bit more makeup. I'll come back really quick and let you know what I put on, so you've got the full picture, and then I'm gonna run around and do my day, and I will come back in with timestamps and we will see how it's looking. Okay, so there is the full face. I did not use any setting powder on this because I actually haven't been using a setting powder on my foundation lately. So I'm just gonna show you really quickly what I did on the face. I added some of this Daniel Sandler watercolor blush, super lightweight, super light wash of color. I have a full video on this linked on my channel. To kick that up just a little bit, I went in with this MAC blush. This is in the shade Petal Power. It's one of their mineralized blushes. You can kind of see that extra kiss of warmth in the pink there on my cheeks. And then to bronze up, we went in with the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow palette, and I just dip the brush into both of these and do a nice wash across the cheek as opposed to really going in for a hard contour or highlight. And then lips are actually just a clear gloss that I like from Bath & Body Works. So I'm gonna get on with my day and I'll be back in a couple of hours to let you know how we're getting on. All right guys, we are back. It is 12:13. I think that's almost actually 3 hours exactly. I don't remember quite what the timestamp was before, but something like that. So far, my thoughts. I'm definitely feeling a little bit oily. I was a little bit concerned because my skin was just so comfortable when I put it on this morning. I thought that maybe there's just so much skincare in here that's doing good things for the skin that my oil production was gonna struggle, especially since I didn't put on a setting powder. So, still happy with the coverage. It's not like it's like melting off, but you can definitely see like I've got some shine. Like this here is a little bit of that like bronze highlighter, but this here is definitely just all shine. I've definitely got some shine going on down here. So we're going to put it to the test against one of these oil blotting sheets and see if it's one of those products where the oil blotting sheet actually takes the product off with the oil. So I'm gonna do a little light oil dabbing, like see what's coming off there. But as I'm doing this, it's definitely worth noting that this is not advertised as an oil control foundation. It is literally advertised as a multi-use foundation, again with that multi-use being skincare benefits while you're wearing your makeup. So while I usually can get through the 3-hour mark without an oil blot, I think it's probably worth it for the skincare benefits. So that's what's coming off at hour 3. Not terrible, really not terrible. And you can see it really alleviated that shine. And I feel like the coverage is still very good. Typically what will happen is you'll see the redness coming back through on my chin. The makeup will kind of start binding to itself and getting almost like pilly, kind of caked together on my face. I don't see any of that going on yet. So at hour 3, we're still good. I'll be back in a few more hours and we'll see what we're looking at then. Oh, okay guys. Chaos has entered the room behind me. Sorry about the discontinuity, but timestamp. It is 3:43, so about 3.5 hours since our last check-in. And, okay. I've left the house. I've been out and around. It is a hot day today. It's hot, kind of humid. I've been obviously building furniture, moving furniture around. And I can definitely tell the oil accumulation is continuing. I've got the shine factor. I would say at this point that I would always use this foundation with a powder or a setting spray. Why don't I do the foundation test with a powder or setting spray? Because then it basically becomes a test or a wear test for the powder or the setting spray, as opposed to just getting a really good idea for how the foundation performs on its own. So that said, good morning, everybody. We are back. We have a timestamp here for you of 9 a.m. So roughly the same time that we started yesterday. I've done the exact same makeup that I did yesterday. Today, we have gone in with the added bonus of the Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray. So luckily for us, today's weather, temperature, conditions, etc., and activities are roughly the same today as they were yesterday. So as far as these sort of wear tests go, we are working in a pretty controlled environment, if you want to call it that. So I'm going to be getting my day started here. I have some things I have to leave the house for, and I'm going to try to come in and do timestamps about every 3 hours, just like yesterday. So let's see how this combo works together. Stay tuned. All right, guys, there is your timestamp. So it's a little over 3 hours later, and I think I still have a little bit of, little sunglasses print going on there as evidence that I've been out and about doing things. I didn't really realize that 3 hours had passed because today the spray is working, because it still pretty much feels and I think looks like I just applied it, which is already an amazing improvement because I really love this foundation. So I want to make it work for oily skin. So I think I might do like a light blot just in my T-zone so we can keep up with that throughout the day. But so far at the 3 hour mark, we're already doing better than we were doing yesterday. So yeah, like really not much at all compared to yesterday. So stick around, give this another 3 hours, and another 3 after that, We'll see how we end today versus how we ended yesterday. All right, guys, here's your timestamp. We're coming up right after 3:30, so it's been another 3 hours. We're still going strong. So I spent the last 90 minutes or so cleaning bathrooms, so I definitely worked up a sweat. It's a super hot day here again, but we are doing so much better than we did yesterday when I was building furniture, rearranging my office. That said, we definitely have some oil production that I want to blot off at this point, so we're going to do that. But before I do, I'm going to zoom you in so you can see what we're looking like up close. So there we go. I think, like I said, a little shinier than I was 3 hours ago, particularly in the T-zone. But for the most part, like that gleam there is from the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star. So I think we're actually doing okay. Okay, so we're going to go in with a delicate blot, and my hope is that with the setting spray, we can keep the product from lifting up with the oil sheet. Definitely oilier than we were 3 hours ago, as expected. I feel a lot better now, and as you can see, significantly more oil production than what we had 3 hours ago. But the coverage is still looking good. The foundation itself is staying where I put it this morning, and what I noticed the biggest difference from yesterday to today as well is if you look at my cheeks here, like the color products are also staying in place. I feel like when foundation starts to break down from oil production and sweat, right, obviously all the products that are sitting on top of it are gonna smear around and break down as well, and I feel like I still have pretty much the same makeup look that I put on this morning. So, like I said, it might be turning into a bit of a review for the all-nighter setting spray, but when you've got oily skin, I feel like foundation alone, especially foundation that has tons of skincare in it, probably not designed to stand up to your oil production throughout the day anyway. Okay guys, we're in for a 6:30 timestamp, so it's been another 3 hours. Today, I feel like I now have the shine that I had at like the 3 to 6 hour mark that I had yesterday. So adding the all-nighter spray seems to have extended the wear life of this foundation in similar conditions by about 3 hours. So just so you can see what I'm seeing, like all of this here now, this is not just the glow from my makeup. This is definitely shininess and oil. It's kind of gonna start to sit into my parentheses here, and we're losing coverage in that same area, which is like a very mobile part of my face when I'm talking, smiling, eating, etc. I'm losing some coverage down here on the chin, which is always like the first place to go because I know that I subconsciously touch it more throughout the day than any other part of my face. We've got some shine going on in the T-zone up here at the top, and over here, sort of the same situation, that part of my face that moves a lot. That's where I'm really starting to notice the most change in the coverage. So since I do want to see how this finishes the evening for me, I'm gonna go in with a light blot one more time, and then we will see what kind of shape we're in right before I go to bed and take my makeup off a little bit later. So again, these spots here on my face where I'm losing the most coverage is also where I'm picking up the most oil, as well as always on my chin here. So one thing that I will say is, with all of the skincare and like the moisturizing ingredients in this foundation, I think that if I needed this to hold for the rest of the evening, I could very easily just go in with a touch up, like a little zhuzh of the makeup on my chin there with the foundation brush or the beauty blender, whichever you prefer. I prefer the brush, and push it through the rest of the evening. But just for full transparency to see exactly how we go to the end of the day, when I come back, we'll get a close-up shot of how it's looking, and we'll do a side-by-side with where we started this morning. Okay, a couple hours later, mild costume change. I swear it's the same night, but I thought it'd be a good idea to cook tacos wearing a white shirt. So our timestamp here is 8:39, so not quite 3 hours, but honestly, I'm getting ready to take everything off and go to bed because I am just very, very tired. So honestly, we'll do the side-by-side. This is what we're looking like here at the end of the night with the Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray. I think this looks so much better than it did by the end of the day yesterday. In fact, I think this looks better than maybe the third check-in or so that we did yesterday. So final verdict from me is that the Dior Multi-use Foundation Stick is a very, very good product. But if you have oily skin, you are going to need to give it a little extra help, whether you use a setting spray, you can try it with a powder, whatever works for you. When I used to do these, I would try to compare these to something comparable in a different price range, but honestly, I haven't used a lot of stick foundations because the ones that I've tried in the past, they tend to like drag on the skin, they don't blend out very well, they kind of pill up. This outperforms any solid formula foundation that I've ever tried in the past, so I definitely definitely do recommend whatever kind of skin you have, give it a try. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, click on those buttons to stick around and see more of my content, and I will catch you guys next time.